Hello and welcome. It's Rick Baxter here with Cost Control Software. Today we're going to take a look at Business Snapshot. I'm going to take you through a little bit of the concepts of Business Snapshot, and then in a future video I'll show you the setups. This will be a little bit of training and a little bit of demonstration all in one video. So I've put Business Snapshot here on my screen, but I'll point out to you as well that it is typically available under your department's financial business snapshot, and you can get to it from here. You can see the business snapshots, the trends, the projections, and the setup area, which I'll cover in a future video. Don't forget that you can always right-click this and then add this choice to your navigation pane, and that's how, basically, that is what I did earlier, is I added Business Snapshot right here on my Role Center. So depending on whatever Role Center you have, you can add it in as long as you have security to be able to run these tables. Okay, now I'm going to take you through some of the basic concepts of Business Snapshot. When we wrote this software, we said we want to be able to see three key things. I want to know where I am currently, what my present situation is. That's the snapshot concept. I also would like to know how we did in the past. So I wanted some information that would let me view information in the past, as well as look in the future a little bit, and more than just 30 days, or 30 days. I would like to go out 12 months. So I'll show you all three of these in this video. I'll show you some of the ratios, and then we'll talk about reporting as well. Okay, so in my sample, I've only got 3 snapshots. You'll want to create your own snapshots, and it's simply just take a snapshot. You just click this button, and it will take a fresh snapshot based on the work date. So whatever work date you have, it'll take a new snapshot. Now the snapshot itself is made up of 4 key components: the cash on hand, the cash increases that we're projecting in the next 30 days, and the cash decreases that we're projecting in the next 30 days, and where the cash will end up. This is a cash forecast where the cash will end at the end of 30 days from the time that you take the snapshot. Now, how does it get these numbers? So I'm going to open up this particular snapshot. Now I can either double click it, or I can hit the view button. So either way that you want to open up the snapshot itself, this is the probabilities, or kind of the probability statistic window to help you calculate that 30-day forecast. And it's made up pretty simply of what cash you have right now, what cash increases you think you'll have in the next 30 days, and what cash decreases you'll have in the next 30 days. And you net all those out, and that shows you what the projected cash on hand will be in 30 days. Now, the details, it's all in the details, right? So how does it get to this information? Well, the cash on hand is pretty simple. We look at cash, the 3 chart of accounts, the cash, bank checking, and cash operations. You'll, of course, define your own chart of accounts. I'll show you that in the setup. We also look for the increases in cash. That's going to be driven by your accounts receivable, the amount of AR that you've got outstanding, as well as the probability of collecting that AR. So in this case, I've got 30% probability of collecting this $790,000. That's going to generate $239,000. Then also it looks at the 30-day, and I think I'm going to collect 90% of that, which is $232,000 about. The 60-day, 90-day, and over 90-day, and the probabilities typically go down as it's longer and longer for that collection. So that's what's happening. That's going to show up here. Then the other thing that we thought we'd put in here is open sales orders. So if you have open sales orders, that can potentially generate revenue, because you could ship, invoice, and collect based on those open sales orders. So you have to put in, now these probabilities, you'll need to establish that based on your known business trends. I can't guess that for you. You're going to have to put in those amounts. I've got a 20% probability of collecting my open sales orders. So as this goes down or goes up, it's simply taking 20% of that and telling me that's the cash that the booked business should generate. So I add all those factors together, and that gives me the total cash increase, which is this number, the 563. And then the outbound, the decrease to cash is simply your payables to your vendors, which I've got pretty high at 80% in the next 30 days. So that's my cash out in the next 30 days. My open purchase orders, that means I have to receive product, receive the invoice, and pay. So it's pretty low at 5%. So that's the amount of cash out based on POs. And then also you might have other disbursements such as payroll or miscellaneous expenses that aren't shown here in AP and POs. And so we wanted a place for that, and you establish that factor in the setup area. I'll show you that in a minute. So that's 4% and 91%. So that's the total cash decrease. That's the cash decrease. So you net all of this out, the current cash, the cash in, the cash out. That's where we should end up in the next 30 days. This is how we calculate the cash forecast. What's nice about this screen, I hope you understand this, is there's minimal setup. I mean, you just put in the appropriate chart of accounts and it does the rest. So it's really quick to set this granule up, as you'll see when we get to the setup video. Okay, so let me close this. I got lots more to show you. So that kind of wraps the current situation, the present situation, but let's take a minute and talk about the past and the future. So the past, you click on sales history. Right here is your sales history, and this lets you see the sales trends per month or whatever period that you want to kind of look at. If you want to see it per quarter, per year, however you want to see the sales numbers. So here is the simply the revenue, the cost of goods sold, the profitability, the gross profit, and then the gross profit percent. So you can see the trend of revenue over, over all the different months, and depending on the amount of history that you build in your nav software, these numbers will become, my sample only goes back to January, but you'll see these numbers go on and on. Of course, this is all going to be with your live data, not my sample data that you see here. So just be aware of this. And this is the history side. So this is the sales history, okay, for the for those trends. Now, I also wanted to have a little bit of future projections. So what's it going to look like out in the future? And to me, there's just two components to this. It's based on sales orders. When it gets more specific on sales orders, so it's what do we want to ship, or what do we have planned to ship this current month? That's the shipments this month, shipments next month, shipments 2 months, 3 months, 4 months out, and then 7 months out, way out in the future, and then the total outstanding. This is the total open sales orders in your software. So yours would fill in, especially if you have orders that are pending, let's say 2 months from now, 3 months from now, that kind of thing. They will all show up in this grid. Then the other side, you might have blanket sales orders, and if you use blankets, then they're going to show up here as well. If you use purchase orders, so here's your purchase orders as far as what is current this month, what's next month, 2 months out, as far as kind of a cash requirements projection. So it spreads that cash requirement out for those POs, and then it will total it out here. And then if you use blanket purchase orders, that will be spread here as well. Now, if you don't use the blankets, just close this tab, just click it there. And if you don't use blanket sales orders, you can just close that tab. Or if you really get fancy, you can learn how to totally remove those fast tabs off your screen. We cover that in some other of our training courses. I'll point out that there are some reports here, sales order projections, blankets, purchase orders. Basically, these reports are to give you hard copies and the details of each of these transactions. I'm going to let you check that out on your own. Okay, so that is the present, the past, and the future. So that's the main part of Business Snapshot. Now there's a couple other things that I want to point out here as well. So let me open up this view of Business Snapshot because we've got some great business ratios. So I want to talk about business ratios. We've been in this screen already. This is our master statistic window, but there's a lot more information here. If you scroll down just a little bit, you can see some miscellaneous information, your total AR, AR customers, GL, inventory evaluation. At any given time, open this up and instantly you've got your inventory evaluation. Many of our customers like to know their win-lose ratio on quotations, so we keep track of that. So every quote that you turn into an order is shown here, and every quote that you do is shown here, 121. So the percentage is basically the win ratio of quotes that have been, how many quotes out of the number of quotes that you've done have been turned into orders. So that's a kind of a win-lose ratio information there. Let me scroll on down. A lot of good stuff here. I hope you like this stuff. So sales and purchases. Let's just focus on the sales side for a minute. So we wanted to be able to show sales 3 months ago, 2 months ago, last month, and then a 3-month average. Now I don't have much sample in here. When you start implementing this, you'll get lots of great data to be able to, at a glance, see just the last this month, 2 months, and 3 months ago. Then we also kind of analyze the expected amount. So we've got the expected amount to ship, shipped not invoiced, unposted invoices, unposted credit memos, month to date. So month to date posted invoices shown here, and then the total is our projected sales for the month. Everybody wants to know how we doing during the month and what does it look like for the end of the month. Well, here it is right here. So projected sales for the month. At any time that you take a snapshot, you can come and it will be recomputing these numbers based on the actual shipments, the actual posted shipments, the sales orders change. These things change so dynamically. That's kind of why we had to do this snapshot, is so that you can come in and at any point in time you can say, hey, what does it look like today? And all you do is you just hit this button up here called Take Snapshot, and boom, you've got recomputed all these values, recompute, okay, every time you hit Take Snapshot. Okay, now there's some other great ratios. Now you're probably doing some of this by hand would be my guess. You have a liquidity ratio where you simply take your total current assets and divide by your total current liabilities. That's called a current ratio, and that's kind of a margin of safety. So it's at 1.4, and you can kind of study the trends of these numbers. A quick ratio is your total current assets minus your inventory, that's this number here, divided by the total current liabilities, gives you the margin of safety less your inventory, so that's at a 0.73. You'll need to know your industry and whether these trends and numbers make sense for you. Here's a debt ratio. Total liabilities divided by total assets gives you your percent of debt. Long-term debt to equity, you're getting the idea, times interest earned. All these things are calculated instantly every single time you take a snapshot. So no more putting all this stuff in a spreadsheet. It's just going to be done here for you. Total receivables, year-to-date sales, year-to-date days, How many days into the year are we? So that'll just simply divide and tell you your average sales per day, and you can divide that into your collections, and that'll tell you how many average days you have to collect on your AR. So a lot of good information. Hope you're getting this concept here. Average payment period is simply the same kind of thing. Take your total accounts payable, year-to-date purchases, year-to-date days, how many days. There were 24 days into the year in my sample. Average purchases per day, and then you divide and it tells you your average days to pay your vendors. So all this information just constantly being calculated for you. Inventory turnover, then some great margins. Business margins like your gross profit margin, your operating profit margin, your net profit margin. All of this is instantly being calculated and available to you, as well as being able to print all of this out as a hard copy report for those of you that want to physically kind of touch the report, although it gets old very fast. So just be aware, I think it's better just to take either a daily or a weekly snapshot so you know what's going on. Here's some business returns: return on equity, return on your investment, and then return on employees. How many employees do you have based on sales? So you know what the total return is per employee. All of this, okay, everything that I'm showing you here is all part of Business Snapshot. This is all included in this one very comprehensive product. Now, there are some nice reports included as well, both on-screen and hard copy reports. I want to focus on the on-screen here. So many of you look at a balance sheet. Well, I always like looking at a balance sheet, but sometimes it's just there's so much information. I wanted a shorter version of a balance sheet. So we allow you to create just the accounts that you want to see, just the balance sheet accounts. So, do I want to see total receivables, my total inventory, my current assets, total liability and equity? All these numbers here are going to be displayed: total capital stock, net income per year, total liabilities. So all of this is just constantly being calculated for you right here on screen. And it also, notice, it does compare to the prior year balance at this same date in time. Again, every time you take a snapshot. And then we do the same thing for your income statement. So I like a nice, simple income statement, and it just has total sales of jobs, service contracts, sales of resources, sales of raw materials, sales retail, and then total revenue. And then the various cost accounts, and then operating expenses can all be shown down here, and then net income is shown as well. So again, and month to date, year to date, and prior month to date, prior year to date. My guess is many of you are calculating these things in a spreadsheet over and over again, or looking to find reports to generate this information, and it's all just right here. It's just right here. So this is the concept of Business Snapshot. It's those key components. I won't go through all the reports in here. I'll let you experiment with that. You can create your own charts and graphs related to this information as well. So a lot of great information about the status of your business by just clicking Take Snapshot. This choice right here, all you do is click it, and it takes a fresh snapshot for today, or once every Monday you might want to take it, or the first of each month, whatever it is. It's going to generate and show you that snapshot information. Great little granule. I hope you like it. And to get more information, certainly give us a call here at Cost Control Software, or contact your Microsoft Dynamics NAV reseller or consultant and ask them questions about this product. But please feel free to contact us direct as well. Thanks so much. In the next video, I'll show you how to set this up. Do watch that, because you'll be amazed how quick and easy it is to set up this program. Thanks so much for taking a look.